Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today is a full review of Musk Lave by Areej le Dore from the new collection. This one I would say is probably the most easiest to wear and the most mass appealing, the most generally likable to a big crowd in the entire collection. It's, like I say, easiest to wear, most mass appealing. Straight off the bat, that's my impression of it. When I first apply this one, I have got the tiniest little bit left in my sample. When I first apply this, immediately the first thing I get is wild Siberian deer musk. The musk is obvious in this, and it's up front and center from the first spray. But in the opening top notes there's a beautiful but subtle bergamot. It's rounded, it's soft, it gives a nice freshness and quite clean. And like I say, very rounded, and it's quite mellow. It's not a sharp bergamot. It's not too bright. It's rounded, soft, and yeah. And that bergamot is from 1920, so it's a really aged bergamot. I think that obviously seems to help with this rounded mellowness that the citrus has. Like I say, no sharp edges. It's very, very smooth, mellow, rounded, and very nice. And so you get the bergamot in the opening with this huge kind of musk cloud, and then lavender. Lavender takes on my skin a couple of maybe 30-40 seconds for it to start to come through. The first thing is loads of musk, then the bergamot, and then you get kind of lavender. It's like a delayed reaction on my skin, and then the lavender is not. It's not. I would actually like it to be a little bit more prominent in the fragrance. It's definitely noticeable, but it's not huge. The musk cloud is the biggest thing for the whole of the fragrance on my skin personally, but obviously you start to notice the lavender. The lavender, again, is some of it's aged from 1920, so incredibly old lavender. And then the lavender absolute in the heart is also 1915 to 1920, so vintage lavender. This one seems to have the same effect as the bergamot in that, I guess, with the aging process, it loses some of its more sharp notes that it has, and it becomes really rounded and mellow and smooth, and so it's quite lovely. And so you get this herbal, very smooth, rounded lavender, and at that point it reminds me of traditional old school French perfumery. In the style, in the notes, it's like smelling an old vintage perfume from a long time ago. And so that's kind of what you get. I would say it goes into almost kind of a barbershop vibe with this fragrance, is probably a good way to describe it. It's creamy, it's smooth, it's clean, and yeah, barbershop kind of territory. And so from that lavender and bergamot and muskiness, it's kind of just tones down on the skin. The bergamot, weirdly, if it fades away, but somehow if you smell it on your hand, you can kind of pick it out somehow in the background, like it lingers for quite a few hours, surprisingly. I don't know if that's because of the age of it, but you get that slightly fruity, slightly citrus, rounded note under everything when you really smell it close. The same with the lavender. Lavender, although not hugely prominent, is noticeable if you smell it close for the entire duration of the fragrance. So the lavender absolute in this is quite long lasting. And so but like I say, the emphasis for me is on the musk, and the musk is the biggest component to this fragrance that I smell for the whole thing as the major player. I do get a little bit of sandalwood that comes through, which adds to this creaminess. There's also a slight touch of something you might perceive as powder pad-like. Orris is listed on the note breakdown, possibly it might be coming from that. It also might be the sandalwood and the musk combination. But in general, very, very easy to wear, very likable, and very smooth and more kind of traditional smelling. It's not particularly a unique fragrance in terms of like this is totally something you've never smelled before. it's familiar, the style is clearly familiar, but it's very well done with very good materials. And yeah, as it dries down, it just kind of mellows out and smooths away. And what I'm left with in the dry down, I would say mostly you're going to get the combination of the musk, a little bit of the sandalwood, tiny bit of the lavender absolute clinging on, although it's very, very faint at that point, and maybe even a little bit of the oak moss. Oak moss has a slight sweetness to it and a slight kind of, I would say, velvety, soft, it can go a little bit powdery sometimes as well, but a very soft texture, slightly sweetened. And you do get that kind of vibe in the far dry down with this envelope of muskiness around it. And that's pretty much it for the dry down. In terms of performance for this, I think the projection and sillage is modest, it's subtle within the first hour, and then it sits close to the skin on me. To around the 3 or 4 hour mark, it's what I would say a skin sense. You have to be kind of here to smell it. And then by 5 to 6 hours, it's kind of gone on my skin. I can still very, very faintly smell a little bit of the muskiness, but I would say 5 to 6 hours really before it's a very mellow, soft skin scent. So performance is not bad. I would say it's work safe. You could definitely wear it to work. You won't offend anybody. I think it's daytime or nighttime, all year round, any season, any occasion, casual or dressed up in a suit to a formal event, or like I say, casual. It works for everything. I think you could wear it in the summer if it's not like crazy hot, because I think maybe the musk could be maybe a little bit cloying in the really, really high heat for some people. But in general, all year round. So very, very, I think it's the most versatile in the collection and the most likable, most easy to wear. So there you go. That's as good as I can describe it. It doesn't feel massively complicated, this one. There's no crazy notes. There's nothing dirty about it. There's no, like I say on the last video, there's no left field notes. There's no like ridiculous kind of weird things going on. It's very, very easy to wear, very simple to understand, and very approachable. So I would say this will probably be a quick seller, and it seems to be already getting good feedback from people as being their favourite from the collection. I can see why. It's not my personal taste. I don't lean towards that kind of barbershop-ish kind of vibe. It's not my personal thing, but I can say that this is probably the best one that I have tried that goes in that kind of direction. The quality of the notes speaks for itself when you smell it. It smells aged, it smells vintage, it smells like an old school perfume from the 1920s, basically, because of the notes that he's used in it. So yeah, very good. That's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you soon with another one. Take care, everyone. Bye.